How's it going, Beamer fans? This is D from BeamerView, and today we're going to be checking out the BMW X5 and all the different hidden features, tricks, and functions. If this is your first time on this YouTube channel, BeamerView, what we do here is showcase all the latest BMWs. We also do some really cool hidden tips and tricks and function reviews, so definitely subscribe to this channel if that's what you guys are into. So everyone, for today's video, we're gonna be going over this really cool BMW X5. This is a M50, so I will mention that, but many of the functions and tricks that we're gonna be going over are gonna be very similar to the normal going X5, so don't worry. Also everyone, one of the biggest things to mention, I did do a BMW hidden tricks video that I'm sure that many of you have already seen. A lot of these tricks that are in this video are also going to be many of the ones that we're going to be going over in this vehicle as well. But what's special about this video is the fact that it is going to be dedicated for the X5. So if you yourself have a BMW X5, this one is definitely going to be one that you want to stay in tune for. So ladies and gentlemen, for this video, we're going to be checking out the exterior of the vehicle. We're going to come back here into this beautiful inside. By the way, this is the Tartufo leather. It's probably one of the best looking ones there is. And so right off the bat, one of the biggest things to mention is on this door handle, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you have keyless, if you had your key in your pocket or your purse, if you were to touch this, you can actually lock the car. These little strips that you see right over here, many think that it's going to be this guy right here, but it's actually not. This is the cutout that you would use if your key fob was dead. You can take the manual key out the key fob and you can place it straight through here to unlock the door if your key fob was dead. But for the most part, you don't have to worry about this one. Just know the fact that we have this guy right here, and that's used to lock the car. You can also unlock the vehicle if you just grab the door handle, as you can see right here. And if you grab the door handle, you can simply unlock the vehicle as well. One of the biggest things to mention about the BMW X5 is the fact that it does come with comfort access. And what that means is that you can actually set the vehicle so that whenever you have the key inside your pocket or your purse, you could actually walk up to the vehicle and then the vehicle will unlock itself, and it can also lock itself whenever you're walking away from the vehicle as well. Now we're gonna come back to the inside, but we're gonna start off with the trunk right back here. And yes, many of the BMWs are getting rid of the kick feature that was right below there. And if your BMW does still have the kick feature right below here, the kick that you must do is simply going to be front to back. You don't want to wiggle your foot, simply front to back at a medium pace, and that will unlock the trunk. And again, many of the BMWs have that, but all the newer ones, they are getting rid of that. So just a quick note on that. But if your vehicle doesn't have it, don't worry, because there is a button right below here that you can press, and then it'll unlock the trunk. Raise the trunk, I should say. Also, one big thing about the trunk, before I forget, is the fact that if you were to go into the settings, if you feel that the trunk height is a bit too high, you might think that it might hit the top of your garage, or if you're just somebody who might just be too short, then you can adjust the height for the trunk as well. There are settings within the vehicle, and there's 5 different settings. This one is raised to the highest one, and by default it will be raised to the highest one. But if you were to go into the settings, you can drop the height 4 levels down if you wanted to. So that is a really big note to mention to you all. Now, going inside the trunk, one of the biggest hidden buttons that I love to point out to every single client that sees this vehicle is the fact that if you wanted to remove this privacy shade or cargo cover, all you have to do is hit this button right over here, and if you were to press that, it unlocks both sides, or it unlocks this side, and this side right here on the left will just simply pull out, and that will give you the ability to pull this out. And then you can always fold down the seat by hitting this lever right up here. If you were to push that in from the side, you could actually fold down the seat completely flat. Same thing for the left side there. And if you were to raise the headrest right here, then there is a lever right inside there as well. So there is a button right here that you can press. This is a automatic tailgate, so it's simply a press of a button. And also one huge thing to mention, if you are somebody who does not have a use for this cargo cover, you don't have to take up space inside your garage. You could actually place that right inside here with this side going in first, and then lay it down flat right along here. And again, just to repeat myself, you could actually remove this cargo cover and place it right down here, so you don't have to take up space inside your precious garage. Now, many X5s, they do have the run flat tires. This one again is the M50, so it does come with a spare tire. But if your vehicle has the run flat tires, you're going to have tons and tons of empty space right here. And if your vehicle does have run flat tires, if you do get a flat, yes, you can drive on that flat for up to 50 miles, going below 50 miles per hour. So that is a really big note. The only thing that you need to worry about right down here, tow hook mount right over here. And this guy right here, if your vehicle came with the wheel locks, this is the wheel lock key that is going to be very valuable, that you're definitely going to need if you plan on changing your own tire, or if somebody else decides to do it for you. And to simply fold that back down, yes, you can press this button right here to raise the tailgate back. But what I like to do is simply just press the top button right here. Now both these buttons, they do close the trunk. The one on the left will close the trunk, the one on the right will close the trunk, but it will also lock the car. I'm only going to hit the one on the left, and it does close the tailgate all by itself as well. As you can see, closes both at the same time. And also just to mention your tow hook mount, if you did have to get your vehicle towed, which hopefully you don't, and I'm pretty sure you won't, but that tow hook would go straight into here. Moving right over here to our gas pump lid door or gas door, all you have to do is simply tap on the door. The vehicle does have to be unlocked for this guy to be unlocked. And if you're looking right down here, you can see what type of gas that your vehicle needs. Now, mainly all of the BMWs, the minimum, absolute minimum is going to be 89 for the US. And also 91 is going to be your recommended. Both of those levels, they fall middle or higher on the gas pump. But if you do forget what octane you need, simply just look at the sticker. Now, another thing to mention, because this is the M50, BMW loves Shell gas. So if you do have a BMW performance car, definitely go with Shell, because apparently they do have the best fuel for these cars. Right over here, I'm just going to pull this out. And then one quick thing to mention, just so you all don't scratch your paint, you can actually place this right here so you don't scratch your beautiful paint. And yeah, simply just fill up your gas. This guy right here, don't worry about. That is just a cutout for the X5s that come in diesel. That isn't something that you need to worry about. BMW simply just uses the same cutout for all their vehicles. And simply just close this. And again, if you lock your car, this will lock as well. There's no button for it. Simply just lock the car, and this guy will lock as well too. And moving slowly into the inside, we're gonna check out some pretty cool things going on in here. One of the biggest things to mention about the X5s and X7 is that we do have this little slot right here. Now inside this slot, you can actually get a universal iPad adapter that can go straight into here. That adapter would be right over here. You can actually place whatever iPad right onto that adapter, clip it in, and then your precious children would have a nice entertainment system right back here. Also right down here, this vehicle does have rear heated seats. The way that I can tell is by these guys right here and right here. Whoever's sitting back here can control their own temperature as well. And right inside here, this guy, we do have some cup holders right over here in case you decide to use those. And also, if you were looking for car seat latches, those are gonna be fine right over here and right over here. And also the other side has that as well too. And also this X5 does have a privacy shade. You can tell by this little knob that's right here. You can just simply raise that and then hook it on to these little clips that you see right here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna jump into the inside. I'm just gonna walk around the car real quick. If there was anything on the outside that I had missed, simply just write it down in the comment box below, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. All right, so now we're finally inside the BMW X5. And again, your steering wheel might look a little bit different compared to this one. Again, this one is the M50, so we do have our really cool M Sport steering wheel. Also, this specific vehicle is pretty decked out, and so it also comes with the driver's assistant professional, which I will be going over in a separate video. I actually already have the video out for this, so definitely check it out on the channel, but we'll come back to this. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot going on here, and it can seem a little complicated, but don't worry. I'm actually going to break the whole thing down into very, very simple terms, simple form. And so you'll have no issues trying to learn all about your BMW X5. So literally starting from left to right, everything here, pretty straightforward. Lock and unlock, window controls. This button right here, if you're not sure, is simply the child lock for the windows in the back. It won't lock the doors. You do still have to go to the inside of the back door and then check on the door seal right here. There is a switch for child lock, but this child lock is just simply for the windows. Right over here, we have our selector switch for the left and right side mirror. If you want to adjust your left one, simply go left. If you want to adjust your right side mirror, simply go right on this guy. If you wanted to fold in your side mirrors, that is done with this guy right here. And very, very simple to use. Also, right over here, we have our trunk button. Now, one of the really cool hidden things to mention about this, not really hidden, but it is a thing that does get overlooked. Yes, you can push this down to undo your trunk. As you can see, the trunk is already lifted up. But if you wanted to fold your trunk back down, you can actually do it from here. The way you do that is you hold this up the whole time. So let me demonstrate. Now, I'm holding it up the whole time, and I'm not letting it go until this whole trunk goes completely down and it locks through. Now I'll let go. So that's how you close the trunk from the inside. You can't do it from the BMW key fob, so just a quick note on that. You cannot do it from the BMW key fob. You can only open it on the BMW key fob. Now we do have a seating assignment. Definitely set up your driver profile first before you set up this. If your BMW X5 does have this really cool feature, this vehicle does have massage seating, which is going to be this button right here. And if you're not sure what this button does, again, if your X5 has this, if I had this on, and now if I move my seat, it will actually move the passenger seat. So it's really, really useful in case you want to make more room to see your windows. It simply adjusts the passenger seat. If your vehicle does not have it, don't worry about it. It's all good. And those were all the basic controls right here. If you did have any questions, write down below. Moving right along, we have our lighting controls right here. Now, pretty straightforward. This vehicle does not have fog lights. If for whatever reason your BMW had fog lights, most of the time it's usually located right around here. This vehicle does not have the fog lights, and simply the main button that you need to worry about, simply just making sure that your headlights are set to auto, which is by this button right here. If for whatever reason you want to just completely turn off your headlights, simply just hit off, and then that will turn off the headlights. If you want to keep your headlights on at all times for whatever reason, simply hit that, and then it will keep your headlights on at all times. But your best mode to be in, simply just hit auto, you're all set. Now, many will question what these three buttons do. Honestly, you're probably not going to use these a whole lot, but they're simply park lights. Now, the best time to use these is if you're parked in a really dark spot, and if you just wanted to quickly run to the grocery store, you could actually turn on your back left tail light with this guy, or your back right tail light with this guy, or both of them with this guy right here. And simply all that will do is just cast a nice dim light on your rear tail lights, and that will help the drivers know that your vehicle is parked there. And that's great to use if you're parked in a very, very dark spot. But again, as mentioned, most of the time you're not going to use that, so don't worry about it too much. This scrolling knob we have right here controls the brightness on the two main screens right here and right here. It's not going to work right now because it's too bright out, but at nighttime, whenever the headlights are on, definitely see the brightness adjust with this guy right here. We do have a hidden cubby right here. There's a button right there. If you undo that, you have the cubby right here. This is also great to use if you have some pretty big sunglasses. You can store that right there. And the only other thing to mention right down here is that this is how you release the hood. One big thing to mention about that is that for BMWs, you do have to pull on that twice, 1, 2, in order to fully open the hood. So just a note on that. Now, moving right down here, we do have our seating controls. This specific vehicle does have the multi-contour seating, so you're gonna see some pretty cool things like this switch right here and this switch right here. But for the most part, it's gonna look pretty much the same for all X5s. Now, this button right here, or control pad that you see right here, this is gonna be to control your lumbar support, which is gonna be the support on your lower back. You could either raise it, lower it, or go front to back, and that just simply provides some lower back support. That, again, as mentioned, is with this guy right here. And then also you have the skinny knob or skinny button right here, which you can press either here or here, and all that will do is simply control the bolstering right here and right here. That will simply just adjust a squeeze that you feel on your back, so you can make it either pretty tight or pretty loose depending on your taste. And again, this just simply controls the seat front to back. You can also raise the seat by pushing from the bottom up. That raises the seat. If you want to lower the seat, push from the top going down to the bottom. Very simple. And right here, you can adjust the incline of the seat back for that seat to go back. Big thing to mention, if you want to adjust your headrest that you see right up here, there is no button up there. The way that you would do it is simply right down here. You have to push this guy from the bottom going up. So watch this. As you can see, I'm pushing it up and the headrest is going all the way up. And that is how you control your headrest with this button right here, either hitting it up or hitting it down. Again, if your vehicle does have the multi-contour seating, these two buttons control the seats a little bit more. This will control your thigh support that you see right there going forward. And then you can push that back if you wanted to. If your vehicle does not have the switch, you might still have the option to manually do it. There might be a lever right beneath that thigh support that you see right there. And also this button right here, again, if you have the multi-contour seating package, if you press that forward, it'll move the upper part of the seat, as you can see. Those are the controls for the seating. If you had any questions, comment down below. I got you. And now moving to the instrument cluster. I do apologize, there is a wrapper on this screen right here, and I am going to leave this on because this is a brand new vehicle and I want to reserve that for whoever decides to be the vehicle's first owner. But to quickly just run through all this now right over here on the lower left side, this is going to be your gas. But if the gas was full, this orange line that you see right inside the gas would raise all the way up. That's how you can tell that you have a full tank. This 107 shows how many miles you can travel per tank. Right here we do have our time, and of course right here we do have our speed. And this is our digital speed right here. Now everything on this side you can't change. Moving over to the right side, this little strip again is just with the plastic, so simply just ignore that. Now we do have our engine temperature right here. We have our tachometer right here. And then this little P right behind this red line shows what gear you're in. There isn't a whole lot that you can change inside here. If you want to turn off this display map, you can. It is always going to be on, but you can turn that off if you do feel that it's a bit too distracting. You can do that inside the settings. Now, this portion of the screen you can change. Pretty much the whole screen you can't really change unless you're changing drive modes. But this portion of the screen you can change. The way you do that is if we go right back here to where we see this button called BC, stands for board computer. If you were to keep on hitting board computer, you can see all the different types of screens that you can select from. That shows your total miles. This one shows your horsepower and torque. This one shows your G meter, how many G's you're pulling. We have our music or media screen right here, and I'm just continually hitting this BC button to go through all these. This shows what gear you're in, and again, lastly, this one is your MPG meter, and you can choose whichever one you want. And again, this will also save to your driver profile as well, so definitely set that up first. Right down here, we have our automatic high beams, a pretty big feature to mention. At nighttime, if you were to hit this, you're going to see a headlight with the A pop up right along here. And that is what you're going to push to activate automatic high beams. If you're not sure how that works, the vehicle can detect if a vehicle is oncoming or pretty close to you, and then it will turn off the high beams all by itself. It can also turn on the high beams all by itself whenever it detects that no one is in the way and whenever it's pitch black. Moving right along to the main steering wheel right here. Again, this is the M Sport steering wheel, and your cruise control functions are going to be right here. This one looks a bit more crazy because it does have the driver's assistance professional package. If you're not sure how to use this, I have a video. If you need the link for this on the details on whatever is going on here, simply comment down below or check out the channel. I do have it, and I posted it about 5 videos ago. So definitely check that out if you're not sure how to work this cruise control, but simply the on and off switch is going to be right here. You can set your speed, resume and cancel, and a whole lot more. If your vehicle has a heated steering wheel, you're going to see that right here. If you hit it, you're going to see a sign pop up right in the bottom middle saying steering wheel activated. And if I hit it again, then I'm going to deactivate that. Right over here, we have our multimedia controls, very useful. This is going to be our volume knob. These 2 arrows left and right can help you change tracks, and right here we have our scrolling knob. And now this vehicle has a head-up display, so if I mess with this button or touch this button, I'm not going to see that here. I'm going to see that on the head-up display. Now this is the scrolling knob that I'm pressing, and I know it's kind of hard to see, so let me just zoom in a little bit. But I'm touching the scrolling knob right now, and that will show all these different stations. If your vehicle doesn't have a head-up display, don't worry, you can still see that, but it's going to show on your instrument cluster where your speedometer is. And so this is the scrolling knob that I'm playing with. Now if I hit the menu button that was right below the scrolling knob, it's going to bring up this where I can change whichever different mode that I want for media. And so that's what that does. And again, just to point on that, the 2 buttons that I was pressing was this guy right here and this guy right here. Again, as mentioned before, if your vehicle doesn't have the head-up display, don't worry. Whenever you mess with these 2 buttons, you're going to see it on the screen right over here. Now the phone button is, yes, used to pick up a phone call. It is also used to hang up a phone call too, so definitely keep that in mind. And if you press it whenever nothing's going on, you can actually see your recent calls pop up right here. But there has been no phone connected to this vehicle, and no phone currently connected to it, so you're not going to see that right now. Voice command button, very useful. I did do a separate video on this one, so definitely check out the channel if you wanted to go more in depth with all the different voice commands. But one of the biggest things to mention about the voice command is that, yes, if you hit it once, you get the BMW voice command, which you can tell to change the temperature in the car, change the lighting in the car. For the newer BMWs, you can actually tell it to lower down the windows too, and then it'll do that as well. The other way to use this, and this is very important, is if you're connected to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, if you want to use Siri or Google Assistant, you can do that with this guy. The thing you have to do is simply hold it down, and then you'll see Siri or Google Assistant pop up right here. So yes, just to review myself, press it 1 time quickly to get the BMW voice command. If you hold it down, then you'll get Siri to pop up to make phone calls. and write text messages to whoever. We have our wipers right over here, and the way that we use that is simply, if you hit it one time, it'll go into auto mode and you'll see the green light pop up right here. You can adjust the speed with this control knob right here if you want it to be faster or slower. And if you want to move your rear wiper, it's going to be with this guy right here. Simply just do a little twist and then the rear wiper will begin to go, as you can see. And if you want to shoot your rear wiper sprays, give it even a bigger twist and then it will do that as well. Also, your vehicle most likely than not still has the paddle shifters, which are really cool if you like to change your own gears. The majority of people are not really going to use it, but if you were wondering what these two guys are, you can use that to change your gears like a manual car. All right, so moving right along, we do have our Idrive 7. I currently don't have a video up of Idrive 7 yet. But if you all did want a in-depth tour on how Idrive 7 works, let me know and I can make a separate Idrive 7 video. I do have one for Idrive 8, but I did not have one yet for Idrive 7. But if you all did want one, let me know and I'll go very in-depth with all this. But simply the only thing you need to worry about is that everything that is related to music is going to be under media. So here you're going to see Sirius, FM, AM, and all that. Everything in COM is simply all going to be phone related stuff. So if you want to switch off phones or add another phone, you're going to do that through COM, which stands for communication. Right down here we have navigation, and this is going to be the BMW navigation. Right down here we have car, and now car can go pretty in depth if you wanted to, but there's tons and tons of things to play around with. All that car really is simply the settings within the vehicle. You can also hit this to check to see how your oil level is doing, how your tire PSI is doing, if you want to set up a driver profile. And if you go into settings, there's even more settings within here. So you can actually go into there and change things like your interior lighting and a whole lot more. And lastly, right down here, we have our BMW apps. Now, this isn't going to be too useful, but whenever the car is fully active, you're going to see a lot more BMW apps pop up here. It's not going to be too useful, but some of the cool ones that you'll see is going to be the news and the weather. And also, if BMW has any messages such as software updates, you're going to see that inside where it says BMW messages. That is a quick overview on Idrive 7. And again, these are all the widgets that you see right here. You can also customize these if you wanted to. You can customize each one. All you have to do is click and hold on the widget, and then you'll see a whole customization screen pop up here. Continuing down, we have our hazards. Now, many will question what this is. This is where all the safety features are within the car. By default, they're always on. But if you go into configure right over here, you can actually personalize how you want your safety to feel. In my personal opinion, you can literally leave everything the way that it is. It's pretty much configured very nicely. The only one I will mention to you all is that steering intervention that is in regards to lane departure can be very annoying at times. So if you're not a fan of the steering wheel pulling you back into the lane whenever you're not using your blinker, so if you're not a fan of the car pulling you back into the lane, if the car thinks that you just left the lane without using your blinker, you can actually turn this off, and then that will deactivate that feature where again the steering wheel will pull you back into the lane. Many are not really fond of that, so definitely just keep that in mind. If you don't like the fact that the steering wheel pulls you back into the lane or gives you a pretty hard nudge, simply just turn this guy off. And then once you do that, all you want to do is just make sure you have it set to individual so that feature stays in place. Moving right down here, we do have our climate control settings. Everything here pretty straightforward. Our heated seats and ventilated seats, if your X5 has it, is going to be this guy right here. And also, if you wanted to use your rear or front defrosters, those two buttons are going to be right here. And also right over here we have our directionals. If you want to manually override this auto button and manually control your directionals for the climate control, this is going to be your temperature, and this also controls your fan speed. Quick note, you can, for BMWs, you can keep it on auto, and you can still keep it on auto and adjust your fan speed, and then that will still keep the temperature in auto as well. Moving right along, we have our air circulation. This, don't worry about, is by default it is set to auto. And this right here is our max AC. If your vehicle is really hot, you can hit this guy to cool it down, and then hit it again to deactivate that feature, and then go back into the mode that it wasn't before. Right down here we have our memory buttons. This is also used to control the radio. Now you can turn this guy for the volume knob. You can actually push it as well to mute it. right here you can change the different mode of the radio stations and other musical and other media sources as well. Now we have our memory buttons right here. One of the biggest things to mention is that you can hover your finger without pushing the button, and then up here you can see what your presets are, which is very crucial to know. Also, yes, you can use this to program radio stations, but you can also use this to program any setting within the vehicle as well. So let's just say, for example, if you didn't like to keep your head-up display on at all times, you could actually go into the menu where it has the head-up display, and then simply click and hold it on the head-up display on and off button, and then you can hit this, and then then you can have it set to where that if you just hit it, then it'll immediately just turn off the head-up display, or if you hit it again, then it can turn on display as well too. That is literally just one example of probably 25 different ways that you can use this guy. If you want to go more in depth with these memory keys and then all the different types of ways that you can program them, I have a video for that. So definitely check out the channel or comment down below if you need the link to it, and I'll be more than happy to. And then quickly moving right along, this vehicle does have a wireless charger right inside here. You can actually tell that it has it, and it's kind of hard to see, but there is a cutout right here that shows a battery cell. That's how you can tell that this vehicle does have a phone charger. You can also check to see the window sticker, as that's going to be the best way to tell if your vehicle does have a wireless phone charger as well. Now, many of the M vehicles, they do still have this key card. Some will, depending on how the vehicle was made by the factory, but the way that you would use this is simply activate the card first by placing it right down here and then hitting activate. That will only work if you have your app set up and your driver profile set up as well too. You can go ahead and do that and then activate the card. And now the way that you would use this digital key card, and one thing to mention, it is only good for a 1-year trial for this guy, and then you would have to renew the subscription, so definitely keep that in mind. It's only good for 1 year. But the way that you would use it is, if we imagine that this was a door handle, you can tap and hold it on the door handle, and then it can lock the vehicle. You can also do the same thing again, and then it will unlock the vehicle. And then if you take it, and then if you place it right down here where your wireless phone charger is, you can actually start the vehicle and drive off too. And again, you can literally just drive off with just this key fob. You can literally drive off with just this key card. You don't have to bring your real keys. Many will question, what's the purpose for this? Well, it's definitely great to use whenever you're going swimming or hiking or biking, so you don't have to take your real keys. And so this one's a really good key card to keep inside your wallet or your purse in case you ever need it. I did happen to see the vehicle key. There is tons and tons of different ways to see this. Again, I do also have a video for this as well, so definitely let me know if you need to link on all the 15 different things and ways that you can use this key fob. Moving right along here, this vehicle does have the executive package. So it does have some pretty cool things going on, such as this glass control right here and right here. Simply just aesthetics. Starting from top to bottom, this vehicle also has the package where it's called Parking Assistance Professional. And you can tell by this drive recorder that's right here. I will be making a separate video about the drive recorder, but if I were to hit it, you would simply just get a wide angle view of the front or the back. But there's a lot more different things that this guy can do. Also, again, as mentioned before, this vehicle does have the Parking Assistance Plus package. So if I were to hit this, you're going to see a pretty detailed view. Right over here, you're going to see this bird's eye view. And then if you look at the top right, this vehicle does have the option to do automatic parking as well. And also moving right over here, there is a hidden little tab that you can unlock. And then if you hit that, and then if you hit the 3D view, you can actually see a whole 3D view for the vehicle. And then you can press on these little dots right here to go all around your car to check out all the different views. And again, the last thing to mention right here is the car wash feature, which this vehicle also has because it has the Parking Assistance Professional package. And then if I were to move the steering wheel left or right, you can see the lines move, and that will help you align your tire to the rail that is going to be inside the car wash. Very, very useful. Going right along, we do have our engine start stop right here. This is the button that is used to control the feature where the BMW X5 might turn off at the red lights to save gas. You can control that with this button right here. You do have to hit it. If your vehicle does have this, you do have to hit it every single time you get into the vehicle, which is quite annoying. But right here we have our engine start stop. You're going to be using this every time you get into your vehicle. And right here we have our different drive modes. Sport is simply to just drive more sporty, have more fun. Comfort is going to be your main mode. Probably 95% of the time you're going to be in this mode right here. It's the most balanced mode, the most standard one. And so definitely for the most part, this is going to be your best mode to be in. EcoPro simply is great to use if you're going to go on a long trip. Helps you save gas and maximize fuel efficiency. HDC stands for Hill Descent Control, and what that will do is if you're going down a steep hill, you can press that and then it will help you go down the hill nice and slow. Auto H stands for Auto Hold. It basically works as a brake holder. So if this is on and you're driving around, whenever you come to a full stop, you can actually take your foot off the brake and then the car will still hold in place. So you don't have to keep your foot on the brake at all times. And then if you want to begin to go again, simply just hit the gas and then the vehicle will begin to go again. So Auto H is great to use if you're going through a drive-through like a Starbucks one, or if you're driving in the city where you're going to encounter lots and lots of red lights. It's also great for stop and go traffic as well. Right here, we have our emergency brake. If I pull up on it, it engages it. As you can see, the red light there. If I push down on it, it will disengage. So that's how you use your emergency brake. Right here, we have our famous BMW Controller. It's probably one of the best in the business, but the ways that you can use this is simply if you rotate it, you can see on the screen that I'm going up and down. And then if you push down on it, you can select whichever menu you're hovered over. And one of the biggest things to mention is that it does have a tilt function as well. So as you can see, there's 3 different layers of screens that we have here, or 3 different columns. If I wanted to move the selector over to this side, all that I would have to do is simply tilt it. So if I push it from the left, going to the right, as you can see, the selector just jumped screens or columns. And then if I do it again, it'll jump to the one on the right, as you can see right there. So yes, you can tilt this left, right. You can also tilt it up to bring up that menu right there. You can also tilt it down if you needed to for whatever reason. Simply, these buttons correspond to the main menu screens that you see right along here. Pretty simple. The 3 that I use most of the time are going to be these 3 up top here. So media will switch to whatever media you have playing, and then home will go to your home screen, which is going to be this screen right here, and then map will actually show whichever map is currently being displayed. Back button is very useful if you want to go back a screen. An option, don't worry about too much. Option is not very useful, but if you do press on it, you can see a help screen. You can edit the page, or you can turn off this whole display. And that's pretty much it for all this thing right here. Now, if you were not sure how to use the shifter, the biggest thing to mention is to press this unlock switch right here. It's kind of hard to see, but you use your thumb, push that down, and then keep your foot on the brake as well too. And then you can go into whichever direction you want it. If you want to go into drive, and then hold it and then go up into reverse. And again, there is a MS mode right over here. If you want to go into that, simply hit left, and then you're going to be in your MS mode, which stands for manual sport right now. And then because I did that, it is going to be an S mode, which is another sport mode that simply will just shift the car more aggressively. But now you can also push this up or down, and then you can switch your own gears too. As you can see on the bottom right, you see that M1, and now you see the M2. I'm basically switching my own gears by using this shifter right here. And also, if it's in manual sport, and then you can also use these paddle shifters right here now too, and then it will actually hold the gear. Again, all that stuff is more on the sporty side. The majority will not be using that, but if you were interested, yes, you can do that too. There isn't too much going on here. There is a Usbc port, and what this will do is charge your phone 3 times faster. All the newer iPhones and Androids, they're all coming out with the cord that can go into this guy now. This is going to be the new generation of USB, and again, as mentioned before, it does charge your phone 3 times faster, which is very good to mention. If you do have your standard cord, don't worry, because there is a USB port right over here. So if you have the standard cord, you can still use that as well. There is a 12-volt socket right here. It's not a cigarette lighter. It's simply just a placeholder cap right here. But if you did have USB adapt, you can still use that as well. And also right up here too, we do have our sunroof controls. If I were to push this back, it will open up the sunroof, as you can see. And I'm just going to stop it right there and then push it back forward to close that again. Now, there is a shade that is included right back there. You can't see it, but if you want to control that, the same way you control the glass, just push it forward again. And yes, that one switch controls both the shade and the glass. And I'm going to stop it halfway. And if you wanted to do a tilt on your glass, the way that you would do that is simply just push it in right in the middle. So push it inward going up. And that simply will do a tilt, as you can see right there. We do have our SOS button. If you do have a brand new BMW, your BMW does come with Roadside Assistance for 4 years. So push that, And then if you have to make the phone call, simply push that one as well. And that's how you can get roadside assistance or call BMW Assist. And that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this X5. Now, if you guys had any questions, feel free to write it down below. If there was anything that I missed or anything you guys wanted more clarification for, definitely write that down below. And if you all had any feedback for me, of course, write that down below as well. But that's all I got for this X5. It is a fantastic vehicle, and I would highly recommend it if you are deciding to get it. It is very fast. This one is the M50, but even the regular 40i is pretty darn quick, I'm not gonna lie. And again, any questions, write it down below. Subscribe to this channel because we put out content every single week, and we're gonna be continuing to do that for many years. So subscribe, and I hope you guys have a great day, and stay tuned for the next one.